and I'm working the chat on my phone. If you're like, why is this guy on his phone the whole time?
All right, I think we're live. Let's see. We got to message Taylor to see if he
We
can
are
check
live.
if we are on. I want to see if we're actually live on the Might Be News YouTube or the MBN Network YouTube, because I'm trying to do that for the first time today.
That would be nice.
Yeah, just so we don't have to upload it later, and people that maybe are subscribers to the YouTube channel can find us there. And
did you tell Danny he was going to be on YouTube? I don't think he knew.
I don't think you. Yeah, I didn't tell you. You're on YouTube. You're on Facebook.
You're a YouTube star. Smash that subscribe button.
All right, Might Be Brews podcast. That's the name of our show, right? Go to posts. There we are. Share to.
I don't know if my phone will let me Might Be Brews.
No? Pizza Gang every time.
Pizza Gang. What up, Pizza Gang?
I like that Pizza Gang shirt. I'm probably just going to order one for myself if nobody else gets one. All right, and just share to myself. Yeah, we're live.
Nope, I got it. Look at me.
What are you on YouTube?
No, I'm on.
Oh, nice.
I got it to be.
Hey, Rob, how you doing? Thanks for checking in. Yeah, I don't think I need my phone. All right, you guys ready to start a podcast?
Yeah. Let's do a podcast.
Let's do it. Hey, Laura. Let's see how this goes. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully they can.
Somebody would have told us by now. If
yeah,
they couldn't hear us.
Probably.
I hope, right?
I think I have everything up. Let's get into it.
The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
Woo! Stop everything. I'm not recording. I'm live, but I didn't hit the record button on my thing. Taylor would be proud. Here we go. Let me try this again. All right, I think we're good now.
See a red light.
The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Might Be Brews, episode 52, the podcast where we explore the people, places, and brews of the craft beer world. My name is John. With me, as always, Mr. Steve. How you doing?
I, for one, am all for John Walker, our new Captain America. Everybody that doesn't like him, get out. He deserves our respect.
I like him. I'm an episode behind. I'm going to have to watch 2 tomorrow.
All he's done is what America has asked for him. He hasn't taken any drugs, no serums, no nothing.
Very true.
Everybody's down on the guy.
I think I'm with you on that one. We'll get into that maybe in the bonus part of the episode. But we are coming to you on site live with our guest from Wrong Crowd Brewing Company in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Dan, how you doing, Dan?
Very good. How are you?
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I did ask you to hit that. I didn't realize it was going to cut out the sounder, but whatever.
I deserve it.
We'll just keep rolling. That's all right. All right. Before we get into the questions and everything, let's go over all the good stuff about MBN Network. Check out mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your new favorite podcast. Also, make sure you're following us on YouTube. We're going live there as we speak, but search YouTube for MBN Network. Also, make sure you look us up on Patreon, patreon.com/MBN Network. Subscribe for $5 a month and help us. You'll get bonus episodes, also entered into monthly giveaways, and you'll help us make the show bigger and better than ever before. Shout out to our sponsors. You know me as CBD. That's eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN for 20% off, free shipping, and a free gift. And guys, right now, I think it might still be live. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Their entire site right now is 50% off. And you
50% off.
Yes, 50% off. But you can also use our promo code MBN on top of that and get another 20% off. Like you can get an insane deal right now, free shipping. It's 100% THC free. And it's just very, very high quality stuff. It's engineered to make sure that you can absorb all of it. It's fantastic stuff. Make sure you check it out. And also our sponsor, Linode.com. Accelerate innovation with Linode's simple, affordable, and accessible Linux cloud solutions and services. Go to Linode.com/MBN, create an account, and get a $100 credit. That's Linode.com/MBN. So, Dan, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. All of our new guests, one of the first things that we do is we want to hear what your gateway beer is. So think back to like when you were first starting to get into craft beer or discovered craft beer, some of your earliest memories. What was that gateway beer, and what was it like as you were getting into it?
I'd say probably some of the first ones were Dogfish Head and Rogue.
Yeah.
I remember going to the beer store with the upperclassmen in school.
Yeah.
And
college, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to.
And we'd be carrying the cases of Natty for the party, and I'd be like, what are those? I want to try them. And they'd be like, yeah, you got, $50-$60 for a case. But
yeah. Nice. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy when we talk to people. Like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is one that like always comes up that people like got into. But when did you like start to realize that craft beer might become a job for you?
I would say, for a while I was kind of wandering, didn't really know, what I was doing. I was a bio major, and I was getting into craft beer, hadn't really thought about it as a career yet. And I went to Dogfish's brew pub probably around 15 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And was just kind of sitting there, and I was like, everything that creating, that's what I want to do is create things people never had before.
Nice. Well, we've got a few beers here that are sitting around, and I think the smart thing to do for the palate would probably go Pilsner Sour Double IPA, don't you think?
Besides the fact that I'm halfway through the Pilsner.
Yeah, that too. I'm going to try, if anybody can see, this is a legend of the brew house, and I'm pretty sure I'm just going to end up eventually knocking some glasses over into the brew house.
From the angle, I don't think that people can tell. We're on like the second level here.
Yeah.
So John could theoretically kill somebody. It could happen.
It could happen
live.
But let's talk about the Pilsner quick. Is there anything special about what you're putting into it, the grains, the hops, and the process at all?
Well, parts of it are very typical for a German style Pils. Parts of it kind of exclude it from even being considered that. It's all German malts, a very traditional yeast. What we really wanted was something with that hop bitterness, but German style Pilsners on the low end are around 4.7, 4.8.
Sure.
And we wanted something closer to 4% that we really could even more sessionable than a Pilsner. If your body's processing like that 4% drink, then the difference between 4.1 to 4.8 is actually a lot bigger as they catch up on you.
Sure.
So this is our flagship, the Borough.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually dry hopped with the German hop, but kind of one of the nouveau German hops is Hallertau Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of Germany's version of Nelson Sauvin, kind of.
Sure.
That's one way you could describe it. But so it's perfumey, but it's still a German hop. So it's kind of our take on it. But this is our flagship. We're canning it for the first time on Tuesday, so we're really excited.
Yeah, very cool.
I like that can be in cans, because I could see a lot of those going down during the summer. When I first saw that it was like a 4.0 Pils, I was like, is it going to have the flavor? Is it going to be thin? It's giving me all the flavor I want from a Pils. The hoppiness is there. The slight bitterness is there. It's really tasty. Great job.
Yeah, I love the flavor, the malt, the hops. Everything's there and very very smooth. So I feel like it just nothing stands out too much. So it just, you could drink this easily all day. But even somebody that's not a craft beer fan could probably crush these all the time. And then people that are nerds like us, will, appreciate the hops and everything. That's very good. I could easily, especially with the summer and
that's
like
summer.
the weather's been.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I could crush these things.
If I had to cut my own grass, that would be a good grass cutting beer.
I saw those guys in your neighborhood. I'm like, are they doing all that stuff for you?
I pay an HOA, people. Yeah. I don't just have servants putting in the mulch besides the kids.
Right. So but before Wrong Crowd, what were you doing? What was your job, before you actually got started in this?
So I was, I guess a nice way to put it, in and out of college a bunch of times.
Right.
And when I was in and out, I was working in the restaurant industry, basically since I was 18. And times got into a few grunt jobs in some breweries in my early 20s. And then one of the last times I got out of school, I was looking for a brewing job, and a local beer bar. I'm from media, and the local bar was opening a store. So I managed that for 6 years and kind of got out of brewing, and always kind of knew I was going to get back into it. So about 4 or 5 years ago, left there, started Wrong Crowd as a Nano brewery, actually, in Bryn Mawr.
Nice.
So that started in Bryn Mawr, was here, Westchester, your next stop?
Yep. So, wasn't kind of in the exact plan, but that's how it turned out. I lived in Westchester 10 years ago. Absolutely loved it. It's kind of like a big version of media, younger, louder. So I really fell in love with it when I was out here. So when the opportunity came to come back out here, we were really excited.
Nice. So what is that decision like when you're, working another job and you're trying to like actually make that jump to opening your own place? What goes into that thought process and actually being able to make that jump?
I mean, for me, it almost even didn't feel like a decision. It was something I always felt like I needed to do.
Yeah.
And, when I realized that was what I wanted to do, just kind of feeling like I had a purpose for once.
Right. Yeah.
Meant so much to me. I never really lost focus of that. Took a lot longer than I expected to, and we had a lot of times I kind of thought the dream was going to be over, but now we're here. So.
Yeah.
So when did this actual location open?
We canned the beginning of November, our first beers, and then we opened on Friday the 13th in November.
Of 2020.
Of 2020, yep.
Why in the earth would you open anything during COVID?
Well, I mean, the other option was to pack it up and go home, I guess. So, and we were already pretty heavily invested by the time COVID hit. We were in the middle of construction. This building was a shell. There was nothing here. And then when COVID hit, all the floors were dug up for all the new plumbing. They already weren't doing inspections, so we couldn't fill it back up. We'd been storing all the brewing equipment in Canada for a few months because we were running behind, a little bit already. And they were like, look, we need these trucks back. This stuff's coming. And, to get the riggers to take everything off is like $8,000 at least.
Geez.
Yeah.
So they needed the trucks back. And I took pictures of all the holes by the doors and stuff. They were 5 feet wide and 6 feet deep. Well, drainage. I was like, you guys want to check this out? And they were like, oh, we're fine. And then like 2 days before the trucks got here from the western coast of Canada, they showed up and they called me and they were just like, oh yeah, it's not, none of this is coming in. Like the whole place is dug up. And I was like, no, it's coming. I'm not paying, 15, 20 grand to get it loaded and unloaded. So we ended up, cheapest option ended up being taking down the whole store front of the front window around the doors and bringing everything up the front, even though we've got that giant bay door right there. Those tanks have never been through that bay door.
Holy crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
that's insane. So you had to rip out the front, bring them in that way.
Yeah, it was like a 4-day process. They ripped everything out. They put up a temporary wooden wall. And then right before the trucks would show up, we'd take the wall down, bring everything in from that truck, put it back up. Next day, come in the morning at 5 in the morning.
Right.
Break down, put it back up. So
wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of joking about saying why would you open during COVID, but I commend all the breweries that I know that made it through COVID. The way people adapted, and as you're talking about, adapting is definitely what you guys did. Is, I thought, just incredible the way the brewing community handled everything that went down.
So talk about where we are in Westchester. You know, as far as I don't know Westchester that well. I mean, I come in every once in a while and go to dinner or go out and meet some people at bars, and I usually find a parking garage and Google where I'm going. So I don't know the borough that well, but describe to people where you are and what made you choose this location in as far as where it is in the borough.
Yeah, so our plan had always been to find some space in an industrial area. We had 3 sites that we had plans drawn up for. We were on the eve of signing a lease on, and the day we went to the table to sign the lease, it fell apart.
Wow.
It happened over and over. One day it happened on Christmas Eve. One year it happened on Christmas Eve. And all of those sites were about a mile outside of town in industrial parks with no foot traffic. And we just said, hopefully the beer's good enough. And after all those places fell through, we were kind of on like our last, wondering, is this really meant to be or not? And this place just fell into our lap. We're on Hannum. We're a block off of Gay Street and New. At the bottom of there's like a hill with the parking lot there.
Yep. It's nice that there's a parking lot right here.
Yeah, it's free nights and weekends.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
that's perfect. And what was it? The beer mill?
Yeah, the beer mills
is like you can see right across the street. Pretty much.
We make our deliveries even if it's a keg over our shoulder.
I was about to say, you just roll a keg right down the hill and it's there.
Yeah.
So, being new, a newer brewery. And I want to give a shout out to Devin Mack because he actually submitted this question to us. But what is it like being a newer brewery trying to gain a share of the oversaturated beer market? Do you consider it oversaturated for one? And then, what's your plan or how do you plan to, get a market share?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at this market 10 years ago, then yeah, now it's saturated. If you look at a lot of the other markets that have a lot more local breweries, we have a lot of room for more local beer, especially if it's good.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say over the years, there's always room for more good beer. And it's definitely more challenging, especially when all the bars are shut down. There's less taps and less people going out to drink it. But I think we got a really good team that's spreading the word. The beers, I was expecting it to maybe take a little longer to get to this level that we're at now with everything and dialing in our system. So I was expecting more growing pains as far as getting our beer to where I was really proud of it, and
that's awesome.
That's helped the sales side of things. But no, I mean I think a lot of the more mature markets that are smaller towns around the country that have 10 breweries, even though the town's the size of Westchester, they just they don't distribute as much. But no, we've only got a few breweries here, and I think we're really getting the beer out there.
It's a nice mix in Westchester because you do there's a couple breweries around, but it's mainly restaurants and bars. You got that kind of scene, and you're right in walking distance from the heart of all that. So I think you're going to get a nice flow of people. And just this week, I guess it was, bar seats are back open.
Yep.
So it gives you a lot more options to come in and sit down and grab a brew, and you don't have to buy food with it now.
Yeah. Opening during the pandemic, you kind of, do you think that was easier because you kind of knew, I don't want to say easier, but imagine if you're starting right before it happened and then all of the rules changed and everything that happened. I think we had a decent grasp on how to do business and everybody knew what they needed to do to go out to eat and how things were operating at least. Do you think that helped you at all when you actually opened your doors the first time? And, were you expecting to just have to put cans out versus actually putting people, sitting people down and pouring drafts?
Yeah. I mean, probably one of the biggest challenges as far as how, the opening and the closing around the holidays affected us was I didn't know if I kegged everything off, is it just going to sit in my walk-in because all the bars are closed? Or if I can everything off, then and everything does open up, because they really didn't give you a lot of heads up. Are we going to be sitting on 300 cases of cans and nothing to send to bars? And It was kind of tiptoeing that line. And the uncertainty was something we definitely had to get through. Having more capacity would have helped us, I think. Just with so many moving parts and getting into it, it was probably helped me a little bit that we were restricted in what we could do. It would have been nicer to not have that problem, but there was positive parts, but not financially.
Yeah, right.
So,
what about distribution? Because I think one of the first times that I had your beers, I think I saw it at Exton Beverage, and I was like, man, I haven't had a chance to go here yet. And I've been really excited to try it. I grabbed, probably a couple 4-packs. And shout out to Dave, because I think he submitted this question to us. But distro is so huge now. How do you handle the dynamic of keeping fresh beer in distro, but also the tap sales and on-site can sales? And are you self-distributing?
So we are self-distributing. Our sale right now, we have one sales guy, and he's also one of our brewers. Okay, so He knows the product as well as I do. He's real knowledgeable as Scott, and we both have a lot of experience on the retail side. Mm-hmm. Managing the retail side is mostly dealing with your suppliers. It's sure. Kind of, if you're managing a store, that's probably your most important job. Is especially in high volume craft beer stores. Yep. So he has a lot of experience with that, and so do I. So it's challenging, but I think we've done a solid job.
Yeah, you probably have a better handle on it than most people, because especially I always think about this, that when I walk into a place like Exton Beverage or Thorndale Beverage, or even a nice craft beer place that's got 15-20 taps, right? How many people are they dealing with to buy beer from? And how much can you actually put on the shelves, and how many times do you have to turn people away, or you really like the guy and you want to buy something from him? I mean, you had to deal with that at your previous life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you were doing that all the time, and trying to manage what comes in, who you deal with, who you can get, or if you get something really special, that means you have to turn away the local guy 1 week or whatever.
Yeah. So I would, for about 6 years, I was managing what we were bringing in, and at the time there were 7 wholesalers, and then maybe another half dozen breweries that were self-distributing.
Okay.
And now a few of those distributors have bought other ones, but 4 more opened up, so it's more like 9.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Yep.
And then there's 30 breweries maybe that might be self-distributing.
Yeah, but area. I mean, every distributor's adding on how many more product lines, you know what I mean, as more and more people are getting out to our area. I think we have one of the hottest beer markets in the country. I mean, everybody around the country has the Southeast Pennsylvania, Philadelphia market on their list to eventually get Toppling Goliath and Trillium and Other Half, and all those giant names that are on the top of the Untapped lists and things are all trying to get into our market.
We're big boozers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
we like our drinks.
It's the easy way to put it. Yep.
Well, when Russian River said, this is the only place east of Colorado we're going to go, and Alchemist was hitting up Philly before anyone else, in the Mid-Atlantic region or Southern.
Yeah.
Cigar City. I mean,
it
kind of became a look. You want to distribute, nationally or regionally, like, let's see how you do in Philly. And everyone kind of got talked into coming out here and seeing how they match up against because the distribution here is great.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So, I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is you probably have a great grasp on, after dealing with vendors and distributors and breweries as a buyer, you take that experience with you when you're going in to talk to people to try to get your beer on the shelves and on tap and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, really, you have to have a good grasp of what do these guys, want to sell from, buy from you so they can sell it. And, right now the answer is really New England IPAs, and, our Pilsner, I think it's going to do well as well. But, something real juicy that tries to stand up against the best of them is that's the easiest way, sale we can make right now.
Sure.
And then, there's plenty of stuff. I got a Hellesbach going right now.
Nice.
And having Scott as a brewer and as a sales guy keeps him from killing me for brewing like a dark mild and a Hellesbach that I'm asking him to go out and sell it, because at least he gets to brew it. And those are, especially like a Hellesbach or a Rauchbach we got coming up, or the brewers are going to be drinking most of those. But there'll be tough sales, but at least he gets to brew them. So we definitely balance, what do we really want to brew, even if it's not, just to be us and not just a financial decision, and balancing that with what's do we want to brew and is going to pay the bills.
You really walked into one of my questions, because when I saw you guys start putting out cans, it was like IPA, pale ale, and in my heart, and I'm being completely honest with you, I was like, oh, God, I hope they just don't do 15 different IPAs and that's it. And then I look at the tap list, and your tap list definitely has a variety of. You guys have an English mild on. You guys have some sours on. You have the Pilsner that we just had. You also skew a little experimental, which you have the Bach with the candy bar in it. Tell us about that one a little bit.
So that's got cold brew coffee from my favorite coffee shop back in Swarthmore. And then it's aged on cacao nibs and vanilla beans. And we brewed this as a Nano brewery at the time with lactose, and then it was a cream ale then. And we did it this time. We just released this Friday. And it was the flavor profile I was going for. There's a candy bar in Canada called a Coffee Crisp. It's kind of like a coffee Kit Kat. And that was kind of the balance between those flavors that I was going for, but in something we could drink. And when we made it before, it was kind of at the height of the lactose craze. So that version had that. So we got rid of that and we switched it over to a Golden Bach instead. Well,
I would love to see that variety on a tap list. And I always see it as like the one for them, one for us kind of thing. Lots of actors will do that. Yeah. They'll do one big blockbuster, maybe two, and then they do the little art house film.
Yep.
And I think that's a good recipe to get into, because you're going to pull in the geeks like us, but you're also going to get into the more casuals. I'll say it that way. Not that it's a bad thing. Money's money.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good recipe to keep pushing things forward. And this guy right here, I was worried when you talked about it, and I was a little worried when I smelled it. I was worried it was going to be too overpowering, but there's a balance to this, which is really well done.
So what is this called, and what's in it?
This is called Plum Surprise. It's Italian plum puree, and then in a kettle sour. And then we aged it with, conditioned it on fresh rosemary and a little bit of dried rosemary to give it a little bit of a complex.
Fresh and dried.
Yeah.
So the nose on it is definitely rosemary, but it's also like, I'm like perceiving like a mint or something too that's kind of coming off of it.
I think that was coming more from the dried.
Yeah.
When I smelled it, I really got that rosemary, and I was like, man, this is just going to be like eating a mouth of leaves. Like,
you didn't look excited for this.
I didn't want that. But then when I tried it, the rosemary is definitely there, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The sweetness from the plum really rounds everything out, and the tartness, it's not overly tart. It's a very unsoured, sounds wrong, but it's lower on the tartness scale to me. And I think it just rounds really well, and it all works well together.
Yeah, when you smell it, I'm expecting to taste like a candy cane and a Christmas tree at the same time, but you don't get any of that.
No,
it's crazy how this tastes completely like a sour. It's all plum sour that I get, and there's just this like background noise of the rosemary that's kind of just hanging out, but not like overpowering at all. I'm not really getting it a ton on my palate at all, except like it just kind of lingers there, and you could call it out, but like it's one of those ones that it does not taste at all like it smells to me.
No, it's there, but it's like rounded is the best descriptor I can come up with.
Yeah, I would say the inspiration for this. I mean, I'd had Tilken Kesh be a plum sour that kind of got me into making a plum sour in the first place. And before I kind of went to that, I was like, well, what else can I do with this? And back in my bartending days, I had made some cherry bitters with rosemary, and I was looking through some notes and trying to see what I could do with the plum. And I was thinking stone fruit, cherry's pretty not too far off the plum. And I was like, plum might even do better with that. So
yeah, that's crazy. I'm actually really blown away by the taste of this thing, because this is a delicious sour. It's delicious. And you just think it's going to have all this pine. I can't get over it. Like, I'm actually blown away how great this tastes when it's got a nose like that.
So the kettle sours are kind of in vogue right now. How do you steer away from? What do you feel about the beer trends? Do you see it as kind of an opportunity to say, well, I can put my spin on it this way?
Yeah, I like looking at what people are brewing and really kind of going, is that a fad and everyone's kind of trying it out, or is that a trend? Is that something that really gives what everyone already wants and no one knows that that's what they wanted? Yeah. So when Session IPA came out, someone realized you can get a plenty of hops and it doesn't increase the alcohol, and you can get that fix and you can have a bunch of them. And that was, I kind of knew that was going to be a trend. And the New England, when that became big, it's like you got all this flavor and no one really cares about the bitter. Not no one, but a lot of people don't. That they want that fruitiness. So, I like to think about what do people really want out of a beer, and they don't know it yet. And that's the inspiration for a lot of our recipes, anyway.
How much, like, I don't know, trial and error is not the right word, but like, I guess that is like, how much trial and error was there as you're trying to get started, and maybe at your Nano brewery stage, testing recipes? And then, do you still have like test batches that you make before you scale up? Or do you think you've dialed things in enough over the time that you feel pretty confident about a batch, and it can still be a test batch, but it's enough that you can brew and put on tap here?
I would say starting as a Nano was probably pretty good. Our trial and error ratio, if it was here what it was at the Nano brewery, I'd probably be out of a job right now.
Right.
But no, I'm kind of at the point now where I kind of have to hit everything right. But we do still have our old system for the Nano as a pilot system. So we're going to get our other brewers working on that. And, I've always really felt like you can't do anything being afraid to fail. And I've failed, dozens, if not hundreds of times. And, maybe I'm at the point now where I can't afford to, but at least I'm not afraid to really mess something up. And things just keep working out for me.
That's a good thing.
It's probably better to be lucky than good.
If you told me that you never had any mistakes, I would fear where you are as a brewer. Right. You have to have bad beers to know what your good beers are. Yeah. You have to go through that. Any cook has to cook something and say, wow, I messed that up. That's not really good. Now, I'm not saying they have to serve it to 700 people. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they have to do 15 kegs of it.
Yeah, well, David Chang did like a TED Talk and was talking about letting his sous chef just go put some stuff on the menu for the first time and just let it be awful and let him fall flat on his face and just be like, it might hurt our restaurant's reputation for a night or two, but he needs to go through that for this restaurant to grow. And I'm excited to be able to put other brewers in that position here at some point.
Man, I haven't seen that, but I love David Chang. Like everything that I've seen him on, all the shows, and follow him on social media and stuff.
Have you listened to the podcast?
Nope.
Podcast on the Ringer?
No,
they don't pay us.
No, we'll have to check that out. Let's see what else comes in for questions. But
Evan's got a question there for you on
does he?
your. He wants to know what your Nano pilot setup is, and Evan's a big home brewer, so you can get a little technical with him for a couple seconds and
Okay.
not shoot over his head.
It was it's 3 Blickman burners. It's actually right over your shoulder up there on top of our cold box.
Oh, yep, I see it over there.
And so it's a 30-gallon Blickman mash tun, and then 2 30-gallon kettles that were a cheaper brand. But yeah, it was 30 gallons. So we would brew 3 times on the 30-gallon kettle and get 2 barrels, and we had 8 85-gallon fermenters. So that was enough headspace to ferment 2 barrels. So I would come in, I'd brew 3 batches, and
It's a long day.
It was very miserable. And then and we do 2-barrel batches, and that's kind of how we went for 2.5, 3 years.
So what kind of setup is the big boy system now? How much? What all do you have there?
So we have a 15-barrel system, and then we have 6 30-barrel fermenters to start out with, and a 30-barrel bright. So, yeah, we brew twice for a double batch. Anything we're canning, a few other things that that were draft only, but we can go between single or double batches, but it's 30-barrel fermenters.
How often are you brewing? Are you doing every day?
Well, right now, pretty much everything's on a 3-week turnaround time, and we have 6 fermenters. So we try to brew twice every week and package twice every week.
Cool.
Do you have, I saw when we walked up, but somebody's asking Doug, do you have outdoor seating during this beautiful weather?
We have a good amount of outdoor seating.
There was 2 or 3, no, probably 4 or 5. Wasn't there tables out there?
Yep.
Yeah, right out on the sidewalk.
I thought somebody left their crowler behind, but you guys have the crowler on the table with the QR code.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody just left their crowler here.
Oh, I was going to take that on the way home.
Yeah. So, what would you say are your goals with brewing beer moving forward?
Well, I've definitely got a lot of areas in which I am trying to improve. We've got a really great brewing team. My guys are learning a lot, and they've got some great ideas that we're looking to implement. I think the collaborative side of everything is really what's been exciting me more recently, and it's not just me sitting there brewing three batches of something I've brewed 4 times just to try to get out to more things. I get a great group of guys to, we talk about beer all day long while working our butts off. And that's what has been, the most fulfilling part of it for me right now. And also with our tap room, the retail side, everyone over there is really great in the beer, and they come over and brew with us certain days. They come over and they go, look, we had this great idea. And it's exciting because it's like, I know that's what our customers want. And, we bring them in, and they're part of the process. So, as far as for myself though, I would love to brew kind of lagers and eventually get into more complex sours.
Yeah.
I always wanted to my dream was always to do a lambic blendery.
Yeah.
And it's cool that in the last 6 years, some American brewers even in the area are doing that right now.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of wanted to move out to northern Chester County and have a little barn full of barrels and just taste them and blend them all day and have someone else make the wort. And that was kind of always a dream of mine. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but that's kind of a long.
That sounds
goal.
incredible.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Sounds too nice to even think about it.
Right.
It's like
I've heard that there's such a thing exists. That there are people doing things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man.
Sounds like a good retirement.
Yeah, maybe. I love lambics. Shout out to Animated. Animated Brewing in Coatesville.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah, they're fantastic guys. They just did a pale ale and used the Philly sour yeast, and the shit to me tastes kind of like a lambic. Like, it was really cool how they pulled that off. It was a really, really cool beer. But dude, I don't know. We all geek over lambics, and we do like our little Belgian days and have a few of those. And I just love having like a Dreifontein in the fridge, and cracking one. I usually always have one in the fridge and just wait for like a decent occasion to crack one, but I can't get enough.
Yeah, when you can get your hands on them.
Yeah, that's what's nice is they, at least recently, I think I read something that whoever brings that from overseas is either went out of business or
Shelton.
Yeah, right. So, but I don't know, man. I used to stop at like, is it Kunda Beverage? Like when I was on my way home from Philly, I would hop off the expressway quick and slide in there. They always had those on the shelves. You could just grab a cuvee or a, the goose, whatever. Like they just always have stuff on the shelf.
You just got to pick one. You've never said Kunda or Kunda.
I always say both.
You always say both. Just pick one and just go for it. And
I just need to ask them. Yeah. I just need to ask them.
Do you know what it is officially?
It's Kiunda. No.
It's option C.
Just something.
Yeah. The K is silent. It's actually Unda.
I think talking about collaborations is a good segue here into this little one. You don't have the deeper here, do you? Or is that that one?
Yep.
So tell us about this beer. Not only what it is as a beer, but you were telling me that it was a collaboration with somebody, and how does that work?
Yeah. So this is our first collab that we have done in our new brewery. This is we've rebrewed some collabs that we had previously done as a Nano. This is with a buddy of mine, Dan McKenna. He has a jerky company called Dan Good Jerky. He does a lot of pop-up dinners in media, but he's local to Westchester.
I wonder if that name sounds so familiar. It might just be a familiar name, but like I wonder if I've seen him.
Well, he does a lot of the razzles on like
online,
the wine and bottle.
I stay away from those. That's danger.
Yeah, right.
But we were doing beer dinners together 10 years ago at the restaurant I was working at, and I really didn't understand flavors and how they interacted, and I kind of always felt that was something that, when brewers are making these beers, they're all just kind of like, well, what if we tried this, especially 10 years ago and before. If you look at the evolution of a lot of our styles, and you go, we had IPAs just loaded with caramel malt for 20 years.
Right.
Why were we doing that from a flavor perspective? It was because we could. And why would a chef ever put caramel with citrus and pine?
Sure.
Like I never,
from that perspective, it's completely different, right?
Yeah. And if you look where everything's going, it's going away from all that crystal malt and then IPA. And it's great to have an old school West Coast IPA that's clean and crisp and not what you've been drinking, and it brings you back to when you got into craft beer. But that's why I like drinking those, is because they bring me back to what got me into craft beer, not because of the flavors are actually better than the some of the newer stuff. So anyway, I just kind of always felt like there's really not a huge knowledge base of professional brewers of like, why are we doing a Belgian stout? The one year that was like the rage, and then it was Belgian IPA and black IPA and whatever, and white IPA, and it's just like, well, these flavors don't really necessarily go. They're interesting, but they're not necessarily what you would put this together culinarily.
Sure.
So anyway, I learned a lot from him about that, and we've kind of stayed in touch over the years, and he's gotten way more into beer.
Yeah.
Before we did those beer dinners, he was a wine guy. So so he's definitely, he still drinks plenty of wine, but
sure.
Convert. So I had him out here, and I said, look, like, we can do a collab based off of something interesting you want to try, and I said, look, I know you don't know the first thing about brewing an IPA, but I said I'd rather our brewing team put together something off of what I've learned from you as a chef, and
sure.
what I hope that everyone else here is learning, from me of what you've taught me. And so we put this together, and one of the big things about it, so it's Citra, it's dry hop with Citra and then experimental 13459.
13459.
Yes, and
I find 13458 just to be just a little off, but the 9.
Yeah, no, we switched it over to the 9, but we I actually reached out to a hop purveyor and said, look, like, what does no one know about that if you were brewing, the guy is an ex-brewer, and I said, if you really knew, what would get you excited that no one really knows about it? And he was like, this is the good stuff. It's not even that expensive, and he said make sure you get some before we sell out. And the notes that they generally give off of it are strawberry and then peach and then some citrus. And I was really excited. We did that with Citra. We got about 112 pounds of hops in this one.
Holy crap!
So and we've still been dialing in our New England IPA recipe, and we're really happy. It's about 9.5%.
So is this like your basic recipe, but just trying the different hops out?
Well,
as far as the malt and everything?
Yeah, we haven't done anything. We've been flipping around on the malt since we opened since we've gotten into this space, and this is pretty much the first time we've got it back to exactly where we want it.
This beer is fantastic, by the way. Did you sip it yet?
I did. It's very nice.
Holy crap.
It's funny the way you were talking about, just thinking of it from a culinary standpoint is I don't think a lot of people are thinking that way.
Yeah.
And it actually, as you were talking about it, why do we do certain things? What I always go back to the bitterness wars of like 2010 to like 2012 when it was like, I have to make this the most bitter beer that I can actually, the IBUs must be over 100. Like, why did we do that? Did we really like that? I guess we did at the time, but now knowing what we know now, it seems kind of silly. It seems very silly, I should say. Yeah,
I do like going back and having the West Coast and something that I've had that's very bitter and even clear and has that amber color, and that's great, but I mean more I think I don't know. Not everybody agrees on this, but I mean the New England IPAs to me are much more palatable to more people, except for Taylor.
Except for Taylor. That guy. Taylor is our producer who is not here with us. He's making a new YouTube series as we speak.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say your grandmother, your mom was a terrible cook, but that's what you grew up with,
right?
And you liked it because you grew up with it and you grew to love it, and I think that's why I like to go back to a lot of those styles because they're comforting and
a little nostalgia and it's just it's kind of what your palate came up on and what you're used to. But I don't know. I think a lot of people give heat to the New England IPAs for being like, I mean, like a quick turnaround and too expensive and all of these things to brew. And I mean, you can't deny that it gives you an incredible experience as far as the flavors and what you can do with the hops when you're dry hopping and you're getting all that juice and the tropical notes and citrus and things like that out of it. I mean, I don't know.
I think the people that bag on them are more bagging on the fact that they just are oversaturated. And when you can offer the New England with the West Coast, with the candy Bock, with the Pilsner, with the other stuff, I think it's great.
Yeah,
have that all the colors of the spectrum in there.
I think that is probably the winning formula because the people that do it too, I mean, sometimes, I mean, and they do great where, twice a week they're coming out with a New England IPA.
If it's actually new.
Right.
Not just
something else with a different label.
The same beer with a different name.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I like people that can balance things and they can have the New Englands that will sell and that I love. But then I also love a great Pilsner. I love trying something new like a Bock or a Sports or just whatever, some kind of different type of lager, some stouts. Probably won't get me on a porter.
Probably not. You need your stout to be
Motor.
Over 15% and thick as night. What's the name of this one?
This is called Dan Good Beer. It's named after, there's a play on his jerky, Dan Good Jerky.
Cool.
I like it.
And it's going to be on tap tomorrow?
It's going to be on tap tomorrow. So
if you're watching, it'll be on tap tomorrow. But if you're listening to the podcast, it's on tap today, unless you're watching the Facebook Live video on Saturday, in which case it was tapped yesterday.
It'll be available in cans April 14th, along with the Borough for the first time in cans. And then we're having a 6.8% single hopped IPA, New England, with just Strata. So that'll be canned on Tuesday as well, ready for sale Friday and into stores. It's called Highway to the Flavor Cone.
Cool. And
Nice.
the Borough is the Pilsner.
The Borough is the Pilsner. Yeah.
Do you have canning line here, or do you bring one in?
We bring one in.
That's I just think that it's crazy to think that's a business to me. But I mean that equipment's got to be so expensive. And I'd also like to see what the rig is that pulling this thing and pulls it in.
Come out Tuesday and you'll see it. Actually, if you were here earlier today, so just real, our obviously Levante has been great to us. Being here in town and been lending us ingredients, equipment, everything like that. Tomorrow, Artillery is opening next door to us. Literally tomorrow, and
I don't know anything about Artillery.
Yeah, so
I know they're
Sean,
opening like right there.
Yep. So their front door is at our back door, and they had a canning line today, and they're making some great stuff. Sean's a really knowledgeable guy, and we've been back and forth borrowing a cup of sugar since they started brewing, and we're really excited to have them as neighbors as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's good that you're buddies, but I mean, if your back door, if it's like right there. I mean, does that bother you at all to have like another tap room so close? Or, I mean, is that gonna, I mean, geez, I mean, it's the right town for it.
Yeah. So how far away do you live?
I live in Downingtown. It took us like 18, 19 minutes to get here.
All right. Well, I mean, consider how many people live 18, 19 minutes away, and they could park on this side of town and hit up one new brewery or one brewery they really like, or they could park right here and they could hit up two and maybe walk into town.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, that brings more people to this side of the town for having for a bar experience.
I can't imagine if I'm going someplace, and even if I'm traveling a little bit, say I'm going to Hershey or something with the family. So, I'm going to stop off and try to get a 4-pack from these guys. And there's another guy across the parking lot. I'm going to go to both.
Sure.
It's going to happen.
Great point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fantastic point. If I'm going to go see a brewery and there's like one right there,
I'm going to both.
Yeah.
And we're only 2 blocks from Sterling Pig's tap room here in Westchester.
Okay. Yep.
There's plenty of great beer bars in town between Sidebar and Split Rail and everything. So we've got Westchester's a great destination for craft beer lovers, and it's nice to have another one on the west side of town right next to us.
I mean, it's been a while since I've come into town, but I can't think of a time that I came into town and just went to one place.
Yeah.
You go to Sidebar and then you walk down the street to this place or that place and, whatever.
Maybe you'll remember. What was the name of the bar that was like there?
Oh, someone was just telling me about it the other day.
I asked in our chat and I can't remember the name of it. It was this like super dive kind of place.
Yeah, no, someone was just telling me about it the other day, but I wasn't familiar with it.
Anybody in the chat? The bar that used to be down near Hannam Ave. It was on Gay Street. They had
Gay and Wayne.
They
almost.
had like a jazz night one
Rex's?
time. Was it Rex's?
Yeah.
It was Rex's.
Yep.
That's what Evan said. Shout out, Evan.
Yeah, shout out, Evan. I remember going to Rex's and seeing a jazz band play the Night Court theme song for at least an hour and a half.
Yeah, you got 3 or 4 Rexes immediately.
At least I know the chat is paying attention.
Yeah, they are.
So I don't
think I ever went to Rex's.
I will never
before my
forget
time.
that night of just these guys jamming on this 32-bar song for an hour and a half.
I would love to walk into that.
You know this guy?
Yeah.
Vince saying to see you tomorrow, Dan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Vince is awesome. Yeah, we one of my best brewery memories was I walked into Odell's in Fort Collins, and there was 3 ladies playing in a band, all 3 of them on cellos, and we took, I'm really excited to get to Odell's for the first time. This is like 10 years ago. I walk in and they're playing the theme song to Fraggle Rock on 3 cellos. And I was like, this is going to be a good day.
Right.
See, I have one of those. We went on a brewery tour in Philly. It was like some Groupon thing. And we were in these like buses without the sides, like trolleys, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was during the summertime. And we went to the first place. It was, I don't even remember the name of it. It's not there anymore. Second Story?
Second Story is there now. It was Triumph.
It was Triumph. We left Triumph and we were going to the German spot on South Street. Help me out.
Brauhaus
Schmidt. And for some reason, it's like Mad Libs with my story.
Yeah, right.
I want to tell the story.
I feel like I'm on a quiz
else
show.
To give me the For some reason, our tour guide put on the best of Ace of Base. We are screaming, I saw the sign, driving in this,
Right.
all drunk up.
That's amazing.
Going down the South Street for no reason. Like,
right.
Why did we Ace of Base? Why did this person put Ace of Base on? But it was just like the coolest thing at the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Good stuff. Well, what did I have here? All right. So somebody that wants to open up a brewery, what would you say to somebody that wants to open up their one space one day? Do you have any advice or wisdom or anything like that that you wish somebody would have told you?
Oh, I feel like everything everyone told me. To do this, you're going to have to ignore everything that they tell you and be prepared to sacrifice a lot more than you could have ever imagined. And even when I'm sure people that are smarter than I am and better at this won't have as much trouble as I did. But if I listened to anyone, this never would have happened. And pretty much even the people that I would, the few people I would always go to for advice, at some point all kind of told me, except for my mom, but pretty much everyone else at some point said, hey, this isn't going to happen, or something like that, or maybe a little more politely, what's your backup plan,
right,
with the way things are going? And I kind of had to shut off all logic,
right,
and just go, if I don't do this, what was this all for? And I guess I kind of got lucky that it all worked out. But it was, I would say if I listened to anybody, this wouldn't have happened. And if it ever entered into my mind that this wasn't going to happen, it wouldn't have.
That's crazy, man. Because it's your dream, it's your passion, it's what you want to do, and so many people say, like we talked about earlier, people could say to you, man, it's oversaturated, it's this, it's that, it's too expensive in Westchester, or people want to go to dive bars or just party on Miller Lights and Bud Lights or whatever. Like, I'm sure you probably heard a million things like that, and it's so crazy to think about. Like, I just think about anybody that's trying to follow their dream or get ahead. You know what I mean? There's people that are going to tell you this or that. And to think that, you put your blinders on and said, there's my goal and I'm going to find my way there one way or another. I don't know. To me, it's powerful.
And to do it during COVID, to me, is just insane. Insanity.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that might be one of the best answers we've got to that question.
It might be. And it might be the first time you've asked that question.
No, I think I ask that pretty often.
As soon as I started talking, I was like, I should shut up.
No, I usually throw that question into Brewers for the fam guys, because that was like one of their early things that they shot to me as like a question to ask to one of the Brewers, and I always try to throw that on there if possible.
So don't listen to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, if you want my advice, it'd be don't do it, and then if you really want to do it, don't listen to me, because it's you never imagine the obstacles that come up and what you have to give up to get there. But last few months, a lot of people have come to me and said, you finally made this happen, and how excited are you? And maybe until we've been open, we're coming up on 5 months on Tuesday, And, there's been a few times where I've said, this is great. And I don't know if it's been worth it. And I said, I think at some point, I hope to decisively say that it has, but I'm just getting there now.
Wow.
And I'm really excited for where we're going as everything's opened up. But the first 4 months, I was just like, I don't know. I kind of gave up everything to do this. And it's great that it paid off, but it still wasn't sure if it was worth what I've put into it.
Man.
And honestly, 5 months isn't that long to get to that point. So I'm glad you got to that point in 5 months.
Yeah, I think I'm there. So
I wonder if anybody's just like, man, this was just the fucking greatest idea. I opened my doors and I'm just like paying bills and making money and building a new house. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
our sales have been great. Everyone's loved the beer. This is not just like, okay, this is like a starter home or whatever. This is my dream brewery. I mean, I love how it's laid out. I love our tap room. I love our team. And it's kind of my dream bar and brewery of what I would love to go to. And I'm kind of getting there now where just like now this is really getting to be amazing. And I'm happy we did it.
I'm glad that you're at that point. And one of the things that brought us here, not the only thing, but one of the things was our friend Rob over here, who's off camera hanging out with us. He was bugging me to get over here, and I normally don't like to get to breweries within a year. I really like to let them get in, get their equipment, get their stuff dialed in. You guys taste like a brewery that have been open for close to a year.
This feels
more dialed in.
That New England IPA was fire and stands up with anybody else that's out there. That sour completely blew my mind. Like, I'm just thinking that I don't know how it's going to work, and it works so much better than I thought. It's a fantastic beer. And then, I mean, the Pilsner is just incredible. I love the bitterness coming through with those hops, but it's still crushable. These beers are dialed in to me and taste incredible. And I love that you're this young of a brewery in a space and are already pulling these beers off. I can't wait to try a couple more.
Great job.
Now, you're talking about how this is your dream space. Let's try to paint the picture for somebody that wants to come here and enjoy and try your beers for the first time. It's incredible that there's parking spaces in Westchester Borough. That to me is just like incredible that you have that. So that's an instant benefit to your space. But tell us about like how you set up the tap room and the food that you have available and what kind of experience you're going for.
Well, I mean, it kind of came up to, I finally realized it after we opened, but I bartended for almost 10 years. I worked, pretty much every job in the front of the house in a restaurant. All my best friends are chefs. My brother was a chef, and the way we put together everything, and I've spent all of my free time as much as I could for the last 15 years in breweries. And I didn't really realize, until just seeing how everything kind of came out and working in all these breweries, that this was laid out like how I would have always hoped it, would have been. So, it's the brewery experience that I've always wanted is kind of what we're trying to provide.
Well, so talk about the food too. So like, when I was looking at what you have available, it's kind of like borderline. Is it a full restaurant menu versus is it, something that's just like small plates?
Yeah. Well,
tell me how you guys did that approach.
Well, we've definitely always been like, it's a brewery. We're going to go limited, but try to make it as good as we can. And, we're definitely working on a limited menu until we get to full capacity. Mm-hmm. And, the kitchen's set up for kind of an appetizer sandwich side and for a pizza side. Mm-hmm. And the focus has definitely been on the pizza.
Yeah. Do you have any part in that?
Yeah. It's my dough recipe. Our staff is great though. They other than the bread side, and I'm going to start baking some more bread here, but we've got a good kitchen staff, and
there's a good group of people that are probably watching and that are going to listen that are part of this little pizza group that we've started, where like we started making our like doughs on our own and just trying to actually make great homemade pizza. Do you have any tips or anything that you could provide to the people that are trying to make a good dough at home? Did you find any tricks or anything that you specifically can think of as like, this is my little twist on a traditional pizza dough that I think makes it great?
Well, I mean, I get into pizza through baking bread through my first thing was more Forkish's stuff, and I'll tell you what, every brewer that I know that's been like a career brewer, we get together, we talk about pizza. That's all we talk about.
Really?
Is baking pizza. They've all got pizza ovens.
I feel like it's either pizza or smoking meats.
Or both.
Yeah.
That's how you get the extra 40 pounds on you during COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I love smoking meats. I would say for brewers specifically, the bread side is always, a baker has way more in common with a brewer than he does with a chef. It's not
more of
even
the
close.
science. It's
what
you're putting in, it has to be right for it to come out right. Once it's going in, that's it. You can't dial. You can't add some salt. You can't.
No, the skill set and really what goes into the working as a baker, it's very much what gets a brewer interested in making beer.
That's why, for one, I don't think I could ever really be a good brewer, because I love to cook and I love just being like, let me taste that. Let me throw this in, throw that in, and just kind of do things on the fly. And then when I'm trying to make pancakes or cupcakes or something like that, and you can't get like you have to have everything as like a structured recipe of this is going to work because of that, and there's this in there to get this effect. It's a completely different ball game, and I feel like baking and cooking are completely separate. You know what I mean? But I get that. I've never really thought about it that way, but I really do get that that analogy there, or that comparison that a baker for sure probably has so much more in common. And I love to hear that there's a lot of you brewers that are doing pizza or that like pizza, because I know that I don't know, I've just fallen in love with the whole process.
Yeah, well, I mean, you start brewing, I mean, you don't want to go home and think about that. I mean, sometimes you do and you can't stop, but
sure.
But if you're looking for something to get away, and that's your brain's already kind of working on that level. So no, I hang out with brewers, especially ones I know that are pizza makers. That's what we get into.
Nice. What was this one? The extra IPA you brought up? Do you remember?
That was more of the double IPA.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it might be something different. I was like, regardless, it's delicious.
I haven't had it yet. I actually, as we were talking, I was realizing that I don't have any beer left for Toast of the Week.
Oh shit.
I
know who my toast is, though. I got it now.
Yeah, you got it.
You want to get it? Taylor, I don't have a sounder to hit.
Taylor, can you stop making YouTube shows and give us a sounder for
give us 30
Toast
minutes
of the Week? That's all I need is a sounder. We've been doing this segment for what? 9 months?
Something like that. Have Jackie sing something, put a little
Reevy rant. He's got a sounder.
Yeah, right? What is that about?
Can't get a Toast of the Week sounder.
Reevy puts in a little bit more work than us, maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe. I don't know.
Possibly.
Do you want to start or do you want me to go?
Well, let's explain to our guests what Toast of the Week is. So,
sure thing.
Toast of the Week. Do you want to toast somebody in your family? Do you want to toast your TV show that you're watching? Do you want to heat toast somebody? Whatever you got, you give them a little toast. John, lead us off.
All right. So my toast of the week is going to be to the man sitting right over there, Rob. Rob, not only are you becoming part of the podcast family, but you were actually on my brother's podcast, Might Be News, and you told this incredible story about the things that you've been through in your life, overcoming cancer. Hopefully, I think you're almost there, but very close. But just an incredible listen, an incredible story. Really opened my eyes to just like how important it is for. Not only, the little narrative that was kind of playing throughout the whole podcast was like, men need to stop having this attitude of like, I don't need to go to the doctor. I don't, this macho thing that's keeping you from doing things that you do when you get older, with the doctor procedures and things that people don't like to talk about or things that can happen. And the way that you were just so candid and open about it, I really appreciate it. It's literally made me like go find a primary care physician and just try to get that whole ball rolling with things. But it was so cool to hear somebody just level with you like you would hope somebody would, like a good friend. You're sitting having a great beer and just like, man, you know, this is really important. You need to pay attention. It was fantastic. Great work by you. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the network, but also just telling your story and sharing with everybody. So that is my toast of the week. Rob,
Toast.
thank you.
It's a great story. I'm still busting you tomorrow at poker. It's happening.
As far as I know, Wrong Crowd opened 11-6, not 11-13.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it did for Rob.
Nice.
There's a whole story.
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan, do you have anybody you want to toast there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I probably have to be my team here. That, you know, we got everything we needed to do this week and the week before, and to move forward. Jonas, Scott, Kelly, Brian, Tyler, and Kevin, and just, you know, making their dreams come true here. I've been really feeling great to be here. So.
Yeah, man. How awesome to have a great staff. But cheers to them.
Awesome.
Cheers to
Good
the
start.
crew. Man, what a feeling, man. I want to say it was 4 years ago about that I became, you know, self-employed and kind of had to do my own thing. And it was like the scariest thing I ever did. Luckily I had like some kind of safety net a little bit, but like that helped me get through and find my way. But man, like what a tough thing to go through. And then to finally have that feeling like, all right, this is going to be okay. This is going to work. It's working. It's working enough to, okay, this is really working. And getting to that point of just being comfortable and happy with what you're doing every day. Like I guess I kind of know the feeling, and man, it's just on a completely different level, you know, having employees and a business and things like that, you know, rent to pay or a lease payment or whatever it is. But man, what an incredible story to just, you know, go through so much and to finally feel like you're on the other end.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. Can I tell my Rob story real quick?
Yeah, go
Get
ahead.
after it.
Yeah. So we canned off our first batch of beer, and we were not ready to open as a tap room.
Okay.
And I was just manning the bar for a few nights, and we were just doing takeout only with our first two beers. So these two guys walk in, and they kind of sit down, and I'm like, "Hey, you here for some takeout beer?" And they just looked at me. They're like, "We just Ubered here." And I was like, well, we're not open. You can't hang out. You know, do you want one of our beers? And so Rob goes to the bathroom, and Vince just goes, look, man, he's got cancer. Can we hang out? And I was like, you didn't need to say that. Like, you could have just said, let's party. But I was like, yeah. So we went on a brewery tour, and we hung out all night. I ended up sleeping here. Actually, I can't Uber back to media, you know, as easily as you guys. And no, we had a great night and learned a lot about each other. And that was my first night meeting Rob, and we really had a great time.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It was like the perfect, you know, every other night that we had been selling our beer, people would take the cans and they leave.
Yeah.
And there was no like interaction or feedback, and it was
Right.
cool. And like that was the first night where it's like, I'm doing this, and
Right.
it was him.
That's
So,
awesome.
Free cancer surgery vendor from Prague.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. Man, what a story. It reminds me of what's that movie with Seth Rogen and Jason Jordan Levitt guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Joseph Gordon.
50-50. Yeah,
Yeah.
50-50.
I didn't see that. What is
It's just like, I don't know. I remember like him and his buddy were like, the one guy's got cancer and they go around. He's like, hey, like my buddy's got stage 4 back cancer or just something great, like something random, and they just to try to like hook up with chicks and you know, get in.
War Dogs. That was the first one that came to mind.
Yeah, no, not that one, but that's still funny, man. That's a good wingman to have with you. Like, hey, we're partying. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I should have let you tell that story after my toast. I don't want to bring it down with the toast a little bit, but I have to. We had a first at my house last night. We had our first hamster funeral.
Oh no.
My daughter discovered her hamster had passed to the other side last night. It was a
How
rough
was
night
that?
last night.
Which one?
Abigail.
The younger.
She took it a little hard.
Yeah.
But we got a toast to Tater Tot, the hamster.
Tater tot.
He was a good hamster. February 4th to April 7th. But here's to you, Tater Tot. There's a shallow grave in the back for Tater Tot. It was a family only ceremony.
Cheers. I don't have a good sounder. I guess we're just going to give a round of applause for Tater
That's
Tot.
all you really got. So R.I.P. Tater Tot.
All right, with the last minute or so here, Dan, anything you want to plug, anything that's new or exciting for you that's going to be happening here, things that people can look forward to, we'll turn the mic over to you and just promote anything you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of new beers that are in the tanks that we're really excited for. We're tapping at least one new beer every Friday, and awesome. We're really excited to finally get our flagship in cans next week, along with that IPA and double IPA.
Yeah.
So no, we're going to be really try to expand, our on-premise, presence in the Philly and the suburbs.
Nice.
Starting next week. So
good stuff, man. Anything you got, Steve?
I just gave it all. I'm still a little.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to rebound from that one.
Tough
I understand.
Coming back from Tater Tot, we still have. Luckily, we still have Punk. The other hamster is still moving on.
Yeah. All right.
That hamster was originally named Tabasco, which I liked as a name a lot better than Punk.
Punk, yeah.
Tabasco, I thought was a really good.
I'm already
hamster.
Combating Tabasco and Tater Tots anyway. So
yeah, right.
It would have been great. And then I want to change it to Punk. I was like, whatever.
Well, it is what it is. Well, I mean, Dan, first off, thank you so much for being a part of the show and being on with us and allowing us to come into your space and do everything. What a blast this has been. It's so cool to be here and have the tanks behind us. This is such a cool setting, and you were just a very gracious and amazing host. So thank you so much for everything. But
come check them out.
Yeah, guys, I mean,
get up here to Westchester. Stuff's opening up. People are getting shots in their arms.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, guys, if you took the time to hang out with us, if you were in the chat, if you're listening to us on the podcast platforms, we really appreciate you. Make sure you're following us on, Facebook, Instagram. We started a TikTok. We are on YouTube. Search MBN Network. Oh, we have the MBN Network app now. Go to your Apple store if that's what you do, or the Google Play Store. Look up MBN Network and find the app. The shows are there. The videos are there. We've got merch. Everything that you could want is there and ready for you. So if you took the time to hang out with us, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. What's coming up? We've got
2 weeks, East Branch in Downingtown. We'll be hanging with East Branch.
Going back to East Branch. We've got the Beer Discovery app coming up.
And then Brewers Roundtable.
Brewers Roundtable is coming up too. So a lot of exciting stuff. Make sure you're staying tuned and following us on all those social media platforms so that you can stay informed and know what's coming up. But again, thank you so much for hanging out, and we will see you next time.
You're still on.
We are still on the internet. We are still live. Dude, thank you. That was awesome. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Rob, do you want to hop on the live stream or something and just hang out for a minute? You good? You sure? All right. That sounds good. Well, then I guess let's wrap that thing up and
wrap up the Facebook.
Yeah, the
YouTubes.
The YouTubes, yeah.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, make sure if you're watching, you hit the like button, subscribe, throw a comment in.
Check out Taylor's new review show.
Yeah, preview and review, something like that. He changed it a couple times. He sent me his ideas, and they've all kind of blended together, and I'm not sure exactly what's what.
I think you got to check him out, but I seriously question his review of that prank show that was on Netflix. Taylor, you still on there? Again, I told you the story without the
on Netflix.
Yeah, it's the there was some jackass type show where they were pranking people, and it was effing horrible. Taylor, for you to give that movie a 7, I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I'll show you.
Okay,
we'll leave it as a mystery. Taylor's
sounds
not
good.
listening, or else he'd be commenting.
Yeah. Or there
There
he
he
is. I'm here.
What was the movie you reviewed on news?
He did. Oh, on news.
Yeah, on news.
Okay.
Late review.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't finish it. I saw his like new Loki, Loki
Bad Trip.
Okay. No, I don't know what that is.
Go to Netflix.
Yeah.
Start it and turn it off immediately,
Okay.
and thank me.
Okay.
That's how bad it was.
All right, I'll do that. I watched the End of the Storm thing. I watched so something I just started watching was it's this whole story about a museum that got robbed in Boston back in 1990, and they stole like a couple Rembrandts and a couple Monets and whatever, and like it just really never got solved, and they try to like put the what's that? No. It's a documentary. Yeah, it really happened. But it's kind of crazy, just like them trying to put the pieces together, and that like people posed as like Boston cops and got into this museum and then like tied people up and put them in the basement, and like the whole story is like really wild. But the museum looks really cool. Like the next time I go up to the Boston area, I might actually try to check it out, because like the I don't know if I want to say it or not, but the museum looks incredible.
You're like Mr. Culture.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that might want to watch it. And
Evan said, "Happy Rex Manning Day." It is Rex Manning Day.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh, nice. Happy Rex Manning Day. I actually know the reference. My wife introduced me to that movie.
That's
actually,
a good movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's
That's
very
a good
good.
movie. All right, let's wrap it up.
All right, let's do it. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a good night, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Later.